ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Hit it.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another YouTube video, and we are on our way to Unrivaled Diesel right now. We got about an hour left in the trip, but we dropped it off Sunday, so today is Thursday morning, and we're gonna go back up there. We're gonna get to Chris's shop. We're gonna see where the truck's at, do a quick little overview, see what they worked on, go through some details, and then after that it is first fire time, so stay tuned with this video. It's exciting, and we'll catch up with you once we get there. Look at the mega cab. She is a unit, hooked up to the trailer, all cleaned up. Honestly, driving great, pulling great. All right, so looks like we made it. And go ahead and park the truck and trailer out here. There's the green dually. So there's Unrivaled Diesel. So I'm gonna park this trailer and go in there and see where we're at, what the plan is for today. Honestly, open schedule, don't really know what we're gonna get accomplished, what the time frame is, but let's go in there, see where they're at, and meet Chris and go about the day. Hey guys, so we finally made it up here to Unrivaled Diesel up here in Weatherford, Texas. We are here in Chris's shop. We got to see the truck. There's still some work left to be done today, but that's why we're here, to see everything, you know, progress forward, get the truck all buttoned up, ready for first fire. I'll let Chris kind of speak on what they did to the truck so far while it's been up here since Sunday evening, right?
Yeah, a couple days.
Yep. So I'll let him speak on that, and then we'll hop right into button up the rest of the truck, getting the work done. So Chris.
Yeah, well, she's a second gen. Well, it's better than most second gens. Everybody knows I'm not a second gen guy, but we made an exception for this. This thing is nice, dude. It's like frame off. He's been working on this thing for like 2 years. So we got it up, we got all the fluids in it, and there's not a drop under it, period, whatsoever. It's amazing. Every fluid is in this thing right now. So we're gonna do the whole first fire up, camshaft break-in thing, all that fun stuff. Make sure we got oil pressure, make sure we got all 6 cylinders. We did have some situations. We're kind of working with some limitations on some parts that we have right now, but we're gonna see how far we can make it today and get the whole engine thing started up, get some heat in it, the head, retorque, valve adjust, all that fun stuff, camshaft break-in. Then we'll raise it up and show you all the bottom stuff and all that fun. So there's a lot of good things coming today, so stay tuned.
All right guys, so another thing you notice is that the turbo is not on here. We are going with a different style of spacers, and also the guys here went ahead and took it off to get the exhaust housing Cerakoted. It's ambient dried, not oven dried, so it just kind of sits out there in the open until it fully cures. It's to match our downpipe at 2200 degrees and also our steed speed manifold. So we'll walk over there to the table, take a look at it. But that's kind of where it sits on the air side, the exhaust side of the engine. We'll come over here, take a look at it, and also go over changing out the spacer for the turbo. Right here it is, all Cerakoted, all ready to go. Looks really good, gonna match the rest of it, because when it came into the shop and on previous videos, you could see that there's some rust starting to build up on it on the exhaust housing, and that would be the only rust underneath the hood. We do not want that to happen, so we went ahead and got the exhaust housing Cerakoted. And then jumping on over here to these spacers, this is what was originally on it. You saw me in one of the previous videos go ahead and throw these on there. This is what came with the kit. But if you start looking at it, and what Chris said is that this will be the world's loudest harmonica, because you're going to get, unless you can get a super tight clamp on it, which no one ever has, these are going to start vibrating as soon as you get exhaust flow through the engine, through the turbo. So we're going to ditch this. We got to find a T3 spacer the same width, maybe a little bit thicker. We have some extra studs that we can go ahead and play around with, make sure they clear the exhaust housing in here. But right now, if you don't use the spacer, the compressor housing is going to hit here on the turbo. So that's kind of where we're at. We already got the fan clutch pulled off, so we're getting that bolt installed. That was my bad on not installing it from the get-go, but it was a good catch and good thing I brought that up here. Just the more parts I brought up here and the more backstory we have for the truck, the easier the work's going to be today. So we got a full day plan here. This is where we're starting, as the intro kind of mentioned. But I did want to touch on the turbo and kind of where we're at. Also, we did pull off the hose clamps that in one of the previous videos installing the coolant lines, I did sandwich it between this nut and the steed speed itself, but that was aluminum, so aluminum doesn't take heat as well as mild steel does. So we're just going to leave this sitting like that. Honestly, the way it's sitting on the head, it still looks really good, so we'll leave that. We'll figure out another way to secure it down, but other than that, we're going to go ahead and keep working. It's going to be a time lapse throughout the entire day. We'll chop it up, show all the cool parts. I'll use my camera to focus on more at-hand task, and then an overview of the rest of the day. So stay tuned, and we'll get this knocked out. So silly me forgot to put the bolt behind the fan clutch bearing on. So if you look down here, we're pulling the fan shroud off so we can get clearance to pull the fan clutch and the fan itself off with it. All this will come out together, and then we'll pull the pulley off, put the fan clutch bolt right here in. So that was the part that I forgot. Good thing I brought it, or else we could have spun the fan off the front of the engine and no one would want that. So we got that out of there. We're good to go, and we'll go ahead and start installing that bolt. All right, so to make it easier to pull the valve cover off without having to do anything to the cab bolts, we're gonna go ahead and drill a hole through the cowl just like we did for the high mount kit, and this is going to be able to allow us to pull the valve cover bolt right out through the cowl, so we can pull the valve cover out and call it good from there. So that's the plan. This is just going to make it a whole lot easier for hot retorquing the head once we get heat cycle through it and get the cam break-in done, and also just for future teardowns or future maintenance that needs to be done, then that's going to make it a whole lot easier for getting the valve cover off and getting the head exposed, the valve train exposed. All right, guys, so here's where first fire is going to happen. We pulled it out of the shop. Get an inspection on it as it's running. Make sure that everything's kind of in tip-top shape. We don't see anything leaking, anything kind of pushing out, fluid out anywhere. And then this is going to be without the turbo, so it's going to be front and center, loud right here, smoky.
I'll fire this dude up. We should get oil pressure pretty quick. We already bled everything out, so it should be a drama-free start. We got a 2x6 in case things get a little rowdy.
Yeah.
Take your 2x6, cram it in your air horn, and it seals off the air where she can't breathe. And we don't have the turbo because of the spacer and all that. We got the oil lines capped.
Yeah, I covered that, so we're good to go.
It's going to be a naturally aspirated 24 valve rowdy, all the good sounds and smoke.
Might be one of the coolest sounding 24 valves sitting here in Texas. So without the turbo on it, we're gonna have some fun.
And then you always want to kind of be looking and aware, because gravity will do it. If it's gonna leak, it's gonna shower. And I got us a flashlight in case you need to look real close, but we might not need it, but we got it.
Yep. So here's 2 years in the making. This all boils down to this. It's gonna be awesome. So we're gonna make sure we have full footage of it, and let's go and let's get it started.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Hit it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You said hit it.
Hitting it. I think she's spicy.
That's the show. You got the hot sauce on it.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Woo! That's awesome.
60 pounds oddly.
Yeah.
Not a drop underneath it.
Not a drop. Whew. All right, so it's gonna be my first time firing up the truck. I'm gonna pull it in there to the shop. This will be the first time it has ever moved under its own power, running, driving. We got about 25 foot to go, so we're gonna see if we can make it, and we're gonna test out the clutch and the rotating assembly and the transmission and powertrain and everything, back behind all the way down to the axle, put power to the ground. So let's hop in. Here she is. We're in neutral. All right. There she is, started running. All right, we got no power steering. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know. That was awesome. Whew. Hey, that clutch is as bad as I thought. It's had smooth engagement and it had a little bit of leeway on it.
Okay.
So clutch felt really good. I was like, uh-oh, is it not going to move? Not going to move. And then it finally grabbed a little bit. So, but that's awesome.
Jerky.
Nope. It felt good. That was in first gear. So.
Sure.
But
and obviously you didn't let the clutch all the way out.
No, I didn't. So
Bumping it.
feathering it just a little bit. So, but yeah,
drive?
my first drive, 25 foot into the shop, about as well as you can expect it. Honestly, super happy, super fantastic that we get to see it move under its own power. So now we get to hop back into it and start seeing how we're gonna work on this turbo. But exciting times. And there's the Maiden Voyage, 25 foot, and then we'll just keep on expanding from there. All right, so now since we got it pulled back into the shop, we're doing a vacuum test on the coolant system, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we got this hooked up. We're gonna get a good seal on this and then go ahead and hook up the machine to it, make sure that the coolant system's gonna hold a vacuum. How long do we hold it for? Or is it just...
You just check it to see
You
if
just
it
check
holds
it?
the vacuum.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not quite like an AC system where
Yeah.
you suck it down and you want it to sit. Yeah, pretty quickly you can determine
Okay,
whether
cool.
it's leaking or not.
Well, and that's the plan moving forward, but one of the best things that I'm seeing, that Chris is seeing, is that there is not a single drop of oil, fuel, fluid, anything like that underneath the truck. We've been letting it sit here for probably about 10 minutes now, and all the way down, there's nothing. So all that hard work, taking time to install everything, not getting in a hurry, is awesome. And so got to drive it in. Right now we don't have power steering, so we have to look into that, and it's kind of hot in the cab for it sitting outside. But I drove it under its own power, and it felt really good just moving at 25 feet. And so now we're going to go to step 2 of the process, is getting the coolant system checked, vacuum tested, and then fill it up with coolant, and then do another break-in procedure for 15 minutes, ranging in between RPM intervals. So let's go ahead and put you on a time lapse for that, and we'll catch up after we get everything ready to go. So we're in the truck, we're doing a break-in with the coolant, ranging in between an RPM range of 1200, 1800, and just going and cycling back and forth. Every once in a while we'll get over 2000, and then we can blip the throttle right there. So we need to do this for about 10 minutes. So I'm out here just going back and forth on the RPM ranges, getting this heat cycle all the way through, open up the thermostat. As you can see, that got this thermostat almost up to 190. So we'll just keep cycling this. We got about 3 minutes left, and then it'll be officially broke in, and then we're good to go. So the clutch is a little bit on the end of the pedal, but it does go into gear. We're good to go. But we'll just keep doing this process until Chris says that we're good, and then we'll pull it back in the shop and go from there. All right, so now the next step, we have it back in the shop. We're gonna do a hot retorque on the head. ARP 625s is what we have clamping everything down. And so we gotta pull off the beans valve cover, which is a little bit tricky because it is a very close fit up there against the cowl. We did have to go ahead earlier, drill a hole so we can pull that valve cover bolt out, call it good. We'll see if we can lift it off without having to do or loosen anything else, cab mounts or anything like that to finagle its way out of there. And then once we get that, then we can just go ahead and start doing a torque sequence on the head. 165 is the foot poundage on a hot retorque, and then that's it, right? Or is there another hot retorque, or is she ready to roll?
Honestly, I mean, when your truck increases in horsepower, you kind of have to do a retorque like every 2 months or a month.
Okay.
Every oil change is doing a hot retorque.
All right.
That's how it goes.
Well, you heard it here. This will be the first hot retorque, and then as we start adding power, if we go compounds, then yeah, hot retorque will be one of the daily maintenances. But we'll get this pulled off, do a time lapse, show you what we have underneath, and then call it good.
Shit.
And there's the last one. Now we get the fun job of pulling this hot valve cover off. She's got some heat in her. There we go. There we go.
You know what that means.
There's the head. Oil is in the rockers.
No Jane, them gloves over there.
Yeah. The glove doesn't fit.
She's a little warm, right?
Oh, just a little bit.
Yep. Well, there we are. Some of the valve bridges were backwards, so we're flipping those around, making sure that the dot is facing out towards the fender, and then all the way back there as well. And then realize that we have 6-7 rockers, the better one, so you don't have plastic cups. Everything looks good. That's a bit of an upgrade. I didn't get the rockers back from D&J the first time, so they hooked me up and sent back some 6-7 ones. So that's a pretty nice upgrade right there, but it looks like we're about ready to start retorquing the head. You can see the oil in the valve cover. Looks really good. So, Beans valve cover, really, really nice product. So we're getting some turns out of it, right?
Oh yeah.
That's good.
Right now we're just crushing those O-rings.
Yep, so if you remember one of the very first videos, this is an O-ring head instead of a fire ring. The truck's not gonna be, you know, a complete drag truck, so I wanted a do-all truck so I can run some heat cycles with towing through it. That's why I went with the O-ring, so that's what we're clamping down on right now. And we're getting some turns out of it.
You gotta put it in correctly first. That usually helps.
Now we did get one thing out of here.
What did you catch yourself on?
Whatever's left in that door. Let's see. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
It's usually best, especially after a hot retorque like that.
Yeah,
The valve lash is so far off now because the head is so much closer to the block.
it's just to loosen all of them.
Break them all loose.
Break them all loose and restart. Okay. All right, so now it's time to start doing valve lash. After the hot retorque, we're just gonna go ahead and break everything loose. So before the red truck fired up, we were going over that we are taking everything loose.
Yeah, so we torqued the head and it squished the head that much further to the block. that the lash is completely different from what it would normally be.
Yeah, so
So you want to go ahead and break all the jam nuts loose and just back off a little bit, so when you crank over the motor to redo your valve lash, you don't damage anything. So I'm gonna go ahead so you can see how number 6 intake's all the way down.
Yep.
And number 6 exhaust is all the way up.
Yep.
So that means exhaust is good to adjust.
Okay.
Number 6 is pushed all the way down.
Good to go.
Yeah, you're good to go.
All right.
And you do that on all of them. So after I adjust this exhaust one and I'm ready to adjust the intake, when the exhaust is all the way down and the intake is all the way up, you adjust the intake. And you can do them right in a row.
Okay.
So you can keep track of them a lot better instead of doing the top dead center, 1, 4, 6, all whatever. It's a lot easier to keep track and it's a lot more accurate in my opinion.
Okay. So this is different from whenever I did the top dead center. We went the old-fashioned method. You know, we have one top dead center, and then you're able to do 3 and 6, and then vice versa if you flip the or roll the engine over 360 degrees. So, gonna learn how to do this method, and then use this moving forward because obviously as we put more heat cycles through it, getting everything broke in, we're gonna want to do this 2 or 3 more times, and I'll be able to do this back at the house accurately and have confidence that the last one that I do is to spec, and we can get everything tightened down and do, is it 10 intake, 20 exhaust, or other way?
Yeah, 10 intake, 20 exhaust.
Okay, and so we'll be good to go there. And then here's our other feeler gauge. So we'll get this knocked out and call it good. All right, let her rip. Yep. Well, she is officially valve lashed, valve cover's back on, valve cover bolts are tight. We just fired it up, gave it a good little throttle rip, but sounded good, no chatter, everything's good to go. So now what's the next steps?
Need to get a turbo on this thing, dude.
So now we're back to battling the turbo and the spacer. Called around, couldn't really find anything locally, so maybe a thing where I just have to order, wait for it to come in, and then get the turbo mounted up back at the house, and then do the same thing, put a turbo on it, get the downpipe locked in, tightened up on the back of the turbo, and then call this thing good. But we'll let Chris get back here and see what else we want to do today. But I think that's the end of the work day. It's 4:30 right now, busy day, tackling all these little odds and ends on the rest of the truck to get it fired up. So that's where we're at. We'll see where we go from here.